Hello everyone, my name is That Analysis Guy, and two quick things before we get started. One, check the description for timestamps for everything in today's video so you can jump to what you want just in case I ramble. Two, here is the pace, the reviews, and the context of the film. And now that all that is out of the way, we will be going through the movie for plot, hype response, and explaining the movie. We are also going to look at the problem with a balance and complexity for horror movies. Without any more delay, let us get started with the movie Hereditary. Since the plot is one of the biggest aspects of the video, it will dominate as far as what we talk about. If you already know it or don't care, fast forward to this time for a 30-second summary and the next topic. In the most basic of ways, this movie is about a family inheriting a ritual from their grandmother, and it is passed down to them. There wasn't a curse, there was a ritual and a cult. The cult was hexing them. And by the way, we see this cult at the funeral and at the meeting where people grieved, so this wasn't random, it was all plotted by the cult. The problem with this movie is that it took so much time to build a story I can deconstruct within 30 seconds. Let's go from the beginning and what we see as far as storytelling. We start off with this note hearing of a death, and snap to a dollhouse, and later to the funeral. Snapping between events quickly creates the illusion of a fast movie, though this is anything but fast, and it isn't supposed to be. We must keep this in mind. This movie has one element of story time, which is patience. I usually rip movies apart for being too slow. This movie needed it. The time it takes is a tool the movie uses. So let's fast forward to the next main event in the movie. The first scare. Not a jump scare, mind you, but a scare. See, this is why I criticize movies for spamming jump scares so much. You don't need them if your environment works. Notice it's quiet, calm, and we just read some ominous message from the mother, and oh look, there she is. She isn't attacking. She isn't doing anything ominous, other than the fact she's there. She's only there as a spook. Lights come on, and she's gone. That is the basic construct for how this movie builds horror, events within normality rather than exaggerated horror tropes. It's not paranormal activity rather than a simple haunting. And right now, you don't know if it's real or not. Before we continue, I want to address some minor quirks of the film's characters. Charlie is obsessed with death and dying, fearing what will happen to her and who will take care of her. Also, she is infatuated with building and is incredibly intelligent. Peter is a frail teenager who rests on drugs for his social life and standing. Steve, the father, is your typical family man who watches his family fall apart. Lastly, we have Annie, a paranoid woman who finally snaps after realizing what her mother was working on. The next bit of story that we get is that Charlie is killed, which is a main event. It is a huge portion of this movie, or rather a huge chunk of event. An event? Whatever. And we get to see this shot of her head just sitting on the desert. It's kind of cool. From here, the mother gets worse and meets Joanne, or Joan, I don't know. Someone who is there to help, but makes her do this seance, which conjures a demon into her home. Payman. Rather put the spirit in Charlie, which Payman rejected and needed a male host. Charlie was Charlie, but she was also Payman. He was just dormant. Follow me here? Next, Peter starts his descent into madness in school, feeling as though he is suffering from anaphylactic shock much like his sister before her death, seeing his reflection be at peace with a smirk. And finally, him snapping and banging his head on his desk. It is important to note that there is a mark of Payman on the pole that killed Charlie. This leads us to believe that the cult somehow, most likely Joanne, caused Charlie's death, since she seemed to be the new leader. This way, Payman could be given a new host and further damage Peter in the meantime. The next events all lead to the same outcome, so I will simply state them and move on. Steve burns, Annie snaps and chases Peter, she cuts her head off, and Peter is crowned as the new embodiment of Payman. It is that simple. Some sites were brought into question, the symbolism, but I've never been a fan for that. I'm here to tell you the whys, not the whats. The why was to weaken Peter. It was all meant to weaken him. The ritual to give Payman a new host requires a vulnerable male host. Peter literally loses everything and jumps out the window. In this broken state, Charlie, aka Payman, is able to possess him and be the new Payman. Every link to Peter is severed. That's why Steve burns when the book is thrown, not Annie. Annie and Peter don't have a strong relationship. Charlie and Peter didn't have a strong relationship. However, he killed her, which weakened his will and mind. Alright, to those of you who skipped right to here, don't worry, we're going to catch you right up real quick. So to summarize the plot before we continue, or if you skipped to this spot, as I mentioned, a cult around the demon King Payman was led by a family's grandmother. This grandmother tried the ritual on the youngest child, as the ritual says, but Charlie was a girl. This needed a broken boy. So when Peter accidentally killed Charlie in an accident caused by the cult, he was broken some more. Then he lost his dad, and was broken some more. And he becomes possessed with Payman, or some entity, it's rather unclear in various sites, and chases him into the attic and cuts her own head off, breaking him more. Her corpse then floats into the treehouse in the backyard, and Peter/Charlie/Payman follows it. By the way, he's possessed at this point. He is then crowned and hailed as the new Payman. Basically everyone is dead except for him. That's where we're at. This movie had a lot of hype around it, and let me read you some of them. Hereditary review. Family horror tale is the scariest movie of 2018. Hereditary, scientifically proven to be the scariest movie of the year. Hereditary delivers a new kind of horror. Okay, so that's all great, but it's all completely meaningless. Right? All of this hype is completely worthless. Scariest movie of the year? Sure. Okay. There haven't been that many good horrors out this year, so the bar is a bit low. And as far as science is concerned, you measured heart rates in a horror movie designed to be scary. Shocker, you got some results like that. I'm not insulting the movie, I'm insulting the hype. Because, quite frankly, the hype didn't help the movie. Complexity in horror is a wonderful thing. If you make a movie too simple, you bore your audience. Too complex, and you lose them. There is a balance when it comes to complexity in every genre. Horror is no exception. Earlier I summarized the plot in a paragraph. Here's that paragraph. But it took quite a while to explain it, all as the film told it. There are many people who had to look up the ending and have it explained to them. This is a problem. A horror movie should have depth beyond the plot. Another layer to appreciate and adore that adds a new love for the movie. A horror movie should not be so cloudy that people walk out of a theater asking, What was that? They should be saying, oh my god, that was awesome. But what was up with that insert whatever generic thing? Complexity should come from events and scenes separate from an understanding of the plot. This isn't a book where you can read on a page and visualize every little detail at your leisure. This is a horror movie, a very scary one, as the heart test has said anything about it, where people aren't really digging in and paying close attention to every little detail. Nor are they thinking at their sharpest level possible. They're terrified. The plot should be the thing everyone gets. Let's think about it. A demon that looks like a clown and is eating kids. There you go. That's the most basic that plot can get. Is there more? Oh my god, yeah. I just basically scratched the surface. But we aren't confused as to what the big picture is. The Exorcist. Girl plays with Ouija board and gets possessed by Pazuzu. Priests have to save her, but they fail. One sentence. Technically. Simple. But it's enough to dig into later. You can watch it once and appreciate it. You can watch it 10 times and find something new every time. But it's the same story, or close to it. Not this one. For a lot of people, the only thing that they got was that there was a ritual with some demon. Some of them got that far. That's like not even half of the plot. And the thing is, the plot isn't complex in its own right. It's just told in such a way that makes it hard to follow. The Exorcist was psychological. It made you think, because that's what it did. It gave you room to think. It had momentary breaks. It had momentary pause. It allowed you to think. That was the genre. This is horror, straight up thriller and horror, fast paced. You don't have time to think deeply as you need to in order to understand it. Personally, I didn't have much trouble with this movie, not because I'm some genius, but because I have seen Rosemary's Baby and The Exorcist, which this movie resembles heavily. It is also important to note that King Payman, the demon, is not inherently evil in his own right. The reward he gives people is knowledge, which is why at the end she says,
We reject the Trinity and pray devoutly to you, great Payman. Give us your knowledge of all secret things. Bring us honor, wealth, and good familiars.
King Payman, he understands all the sciences. He knows everything the mind has to offer. He is basically the demon of knowledge. There were also these light effects, but another video. I look forward to doing a video on the scene construction for this movie. As I said, there are a lot of effects, a lot of transitions, and really just a lot of things that this movie did well and really bad. And this is going to do it for me, guys. Thank you all so much for watching. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe for more. My name is That Analysis Guy, and I will see you all next time. Peace.